Hey there, viewer. So there were a few things that I left out in the previous video because I was in a bit of a hurry, and it was also the video was already 20 minutes long, so I didn't add everything that I really could have wanted to put. So this is gonna be like a mini episode 2.5, a continuation of a few little extra things. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is I had a little bit of a Mandela effect where I thought I could have sworn Uzi's hat was purple, and I was comparing it to Sarah's purple hat, and then I remembered why I was thinking that, and that is because of the picture with Icon. In the stargazing episode, little animation that Liam made for his Lofi music, you can see Icon has a little purple hoodie, just like Sarah. Now Sarah doesn't have a scarf like her, but that's like a really big in-between thing that connects both the Cold Love Story and Murder Drones, because Icon was a big inspiration for Murder Drones, essentially. So yeah, there's that. And the other two little things that I left out is the render output 7 and the canceled animation. So the let me go in order. So there was this a Cold Love Story animation that Liam wanted to do way back in the day, like back when he was just getting started. It was really bad. It looked really bad, and he never finished it. He never made it all the way. He canceled that for obvious reasons. But I'm gonna show you guys the trailer because it's good fun. Good old fun. By the way, this is part of the reason why I am very supportive of all of you that do your own little original series with your drawings and your little animations. Don't feel discouraged, all right? Liam Vickers, at your age, he was doing this, all right? You're already doing great, kiddo. Keep it up. Up next is Render Output 7. This was a little college animation that he had to do. Not necessarily that long ago, but somewhere in between in the timeline. You can still find the video out there in the wild, and you could say that this is the canon ending for the good version of the story, where Max decides to take one for the team and rizzes up Sarah.
Hey, Sarah, how about how about a date?
Oh, Max, you know I can't do that. We're just different styles.
Yeah, because that's what matters.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'll just leave now.
Hey, wait.
Sarah, stop moving. The animator's project deadline is approaching. If he's too lazy to animate me, there's no way he can animate you.
So, if I took a step towards you...
Don't! He'll disappear! Sarah, Jesus Christ, I'll be fine, just stop!
I'm sorry, Max. I understand now. We're both just drawings. You just happen to be one that matters to me more than I realize.
Sarah, no!
Alright, well, not a lot left now. I wanted to do a little little podcast. Let's finish things up with a little podcast, or with the real Sarah, or at least my real Sarah. All right, we are recording.
Oh my!
This is the podcast version of the conversation. I've already released the part 1 of the retrospect. Right before they're listening to this, they'll be watching 2 little animations that I didn't get to show in the previous video, along with 1 little picture or whatever. But yes, now we will talk more, just a more casual conversation on the story and our history with the Sarah.
Oh my, a casual conversation. The way you said it made it sound like a date, like we'll get more casual, you know.
Do you want to start?
What, with just like our dating history or something, or?
I don't know, it's just anything, I guess. Thoughts on the story, thoughts on the shenanigans. Or like you said...
Are you mean the show or the whole Sarah thing with you?
Just whatever.
Just whatever.
Just whatever. We can start anyway. Yeah.
So, you know how for the longest time, after we dated the first time, which I mean I might have to explain to the crowd, but like we dated multiple times. We dated twice. We dated once when I was in high school and he was starting out in college, and then went our separate ways, and then God just kind of threw us back together after college.
I feel like you're getting ahead of yourself, though. A lot of these viewers don't understand the inside joke about all of this. That more than 90%
of the people that he dated were named Sarah.
Yeah. And it wasn't intentional. Technically, you weren't even the first Sarah.
True.
Because
because there was okay. Wait. I want to tell them this, since I kind of told you this. So the Sarah before me, Korean Sarah, she was in band with us, and she was really nice. She was actually a lot like me. I feel like she was very she was just kind of very quiet and shy. She also played clarinet like I did, and I was already friends with her because leading up to 10th grade in high school, in the high school we went to, leading up to that, you weren't in with the whole band, you were just separate classes, and then in 10th grade you got to be with the whole band. So I already knew him through his sister because we had played clarinet together, we were all clarinets and stuff, and I would go over to his house to have parties and stuff, because I would get invited by his sister and everything, and so I would see him and stuff, and we would talk sometimes, and I just thought he was just a really nice, kind of shy, nerdy guy, kind of cute. And he was the older brother, that whole thing. But I remember my friend Sarah in band with me, when we got to the big, when we got to 10th grade, when we got where we could be with all the other instruments, he was in band. He was trombone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember one day, I think it was maybe during finals or something, where we didn't really have a graded test or anything going on in band. We just had game day where we could bring board games and just play with whoever. They basically let us, on days like that, they basically let us do whatever the heck we wanted. And I remember, I think, because I didn't really know many people, So I was just hanging out with that Sarah that day, Korean Sarah as we'll call her. And she was like, "Here, come play Uno with me and with you." And we were playing, and so we ended up playing Uno, and like I ended up talking to you more. I feel like more than I had like previously. And after that, me and her were having girl talk, and I was saying about like how nice you are, and she was like noticing me smiling at you and stuff, and she was like, "You should ask him out. He's really nice." And I was like, I was like, "I don't know." And she's like, "I've been on dates with him." And I'm like, "Wait, you've been on dates with him?" And she's like, "Yeah, and he's really nice." And I'm like, "Are you sure it's okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's more of a friend thing or whatever." So she basically recommended you to me, but we didn't date until later because I was too shy. I was too shy to like ask you out.
Probably one of the things that I should clarify with my viewers, because I don't know what culture they're from or they're used to, but the way I dated was just casual dating. It wasn't anything intimate. It was just I would take girls to hang out somewhere or somewhere to eat, and that's pretty much it. Just get to know people a bit better.
It was more like a friendly thing, like just socializing.
Because I thought that would be more successful in the long run.
Yeah.
Than trying to.
You were right.
And I was right. I was bloody right.
Because I tried to do like, oh, I really like this person, so let's try to go on a date and be boyfriend and girlfriend. And I feel like in the long run for me, it didn't necessarily completely. Well, I don't know.
The main issue.
I think it was the people I picked. They were weird.
That.
Yeah.
That, but also you need to build familiarity with people before you can start seriously dating.
And I think that's why when we dated the first time in high school, and then I think when we dated the second time in college, that's why it worked out so well, because I already knew you. I wasn't like, I still would get a little like nervous at first, a little, excited, butterflies, whatever you want to call them. Yes. but like I wasn't like nervous because I knew you. Like I knew you weren't going to like put something in my drink or something, like I trusted you. Mm-hmm. I knew that, like I knew you. I knew your parents. I knew your sister. Like, I had already basically met your family before. So I wasn't, like, super nervous.
Yeah. So there were a small handful of Sarahs before Sarah Prime, okay? Before... That's what we'll refer to you as.
Well, I know, like...
We'll refer to you as Sarah Prime.
Well, I know... Thank you. Well, I know back in when we dated in high school, before me, there was, like, Korean Sarah. And then,
there was
after me...
there was redhead Sarah that I took to the prom.
Oh, you love going on about that story.
It's an amazing
story.
That's
Sarah.
Like I said, nothing romantic or anything like that. But as a man, that was the day that I grew up.
He got to be a knight in shining armor.
It was great. No, it was great because I thought I was gonna graduate high school, and I was gonna graduate as like a complete loser nerd that never did anything cool or interesting. But this was my freaking what do you call it? The hallmark.
Hail Mary.
No, not Hail Mary. It was just like my cool dude moment.
Your street cred, basically.
Yeah, my street cred. It was the moment where like my nerd friends begin to envy me. It was great. Like I said, I feel good. I feel good for doing that. Like I said, and I've told you this before. I never like really like had any serious emotions for anybody. It's just that I felt like I needed to find a partner just to balance myself out, and Lord knows you know that I need to balance that out. Otherwise, I'd be a weird like hermit in the middle of the mountains building bombs.
Well, hey, I mean, I was going through the same thing when you messaged me on Facebook after all those years. I was literally sitting at the bar of a restaurant, drinking with my sister, swearing off men, and accepting my fate as being a crazy dog lady. Because cats have tried to kill me. I will not be a crazy cat lady, but a crazy dog lady, and that I was going to move in with my sister and our like best friend from college, and we were just going to be 3 bitter old widows. Because basically I had the same thing going where I knew that I needed a partner. I knew I needed to settle down. And the thing is, I was starting to face the reality of if I ever did settle down with someone, it was going to be someone who we could barely stand each other's company and all
I feel
that.
like we're getting ahead of the story.
We are, but I felt the same way. It's just, I feel like everything worked out for the best because we are soulmates. Like, I firmly believe that.
We finally moved out of our parents' household.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I'll admit, my parents are toxic, but I just feel like everyone at that point, everyone reaches a point where they need to move out of their parents' house.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't realize.
And the thing is,
their mysteries.
Unfortunately, a lot of you guys might deal with this in the future because I feel like a lot of y'all have parents that are like this. At least we did. The thing is, it's going to be hard, but you have to push through and you have to get out of your parents' house because it's only going to get worse. And the thing is, the closer you get to moving out of your parents' house,
the worse they're going to get.
The worse they're going to get. The more they're going to push back because they like
boomers and Gen Xers do not like losing power.
They don't. They like having control over you. So when you start like moving out of the house, they lose that grip. For example, I'm going to cut
out most of this trauma dump, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to like go on and on and on about that. I just got on
anyways, back to the timeline. So we had Korea and Sarah.
Well, I don't want you to cut out absolutely everything. I do want them to know that it is... They do need to be properly warned about moving out.
That'll be a video for another time.
We'll save the footage. You can cut it out of this video, but save it for a separate video.
Sure. Anyways, so we started off with Korea and Sarah. Then there was this red-headed Sarah. It was my last year, and it was going to be like the senior prom. But because I was a dummy, I had to retake chemistry, and so I was with all the munchkins. Were they juniors, or what do you call them?
I know 9th grade's freshmen, 10th grade sophomores. Excuse me.
I think it was freshmen. Yeah. I think I was taking chemistry with a bunch of crazy Frenchmen. But there were some other seniors like me. There was another guy, and I don't know how many other seniors there were. But the few seniors that were in that chemistry class were basically people that had to retake it. And Sarah was redheaded. Sarah was a freshman, or not freshman, junior, or whatever. And we got to get this right. Okay, 9th grade is freshman. 10th grade is sophomore. 11th grade is junior. Okay, then it would be sophomore.
And 12th grade is senior. Yeah, because freshmen didn't go to our they didn't go to our high school. They went to like a separate school.
They went to the quarantine zone.
Fun fact, guys. The high school was so messed up that that hazing was a big problem. If you don't know what hazing is when people just basically bully, harass the hell out of each other to the point where it's super dangerous. And for apparently it was bad enough that the upperclassmen were hazing the ninth graders, the freshmen, the new meat, that they had to build an entirely separate school for the ninth grade freshmen, which it is a pretty old school. So now that I think about it,
we just refer to it as the quarantine.
So I don't even know when that became a thing. It's just always been a thing here, I feel like. Anyway, that's messed up, but anyway.
Sarah was a 10th grader. She kept going. She was my lab partner along with, I think, one or two other people.
Mm-hmm.
And she would always go on and on about how she wanted to go to the senior prom by asking this one senior guy that was right next to us. And she would ask me for advice on how to approach it, and I would give her some pretty easy advice on how to go about that kind of thing. And meanwhile, I was trying to find a date for the senior prom elsewhere. Usually, probably, I think it was like I would usually hunt around the band nerds or whatever. And the day finally came when she was gonna ask the guy out, and it was very
Chadley.
It was very. It was very.
I don't know what his name was, but
I don't know what his name was.
The weird quarterback dude, probably.
No, he wasn't a quarterback.
He wasn't.
No,
he wasn't on the football
was a
team.
pasty white boy. No, it's like he was not somebody that should have been that sassy.
Was he even a senior?
He was.
He was just.
He had the weird Justin Bieber hair.
Oh, yeah, all the girls raved over that. Which, by the way, guys, don't get that haircut. It looks. Back in the day, it might have worked, but it looks retarded now.
No, he wasn't.
It looks really retarded when you do the weird seizure tick to try to, like, move the hair out of your eyes. Take your hand and move the hair out of your eyes. Do not do the weird dog seizure thing.
No, like
you
I
look
said,
retarded.
He wasn't Chadley. Chadley would have probably been like, yeah, sure thing, babe.
Chadley would have snapped him in half, basically.
Well, no, Chadley would have taken her to the prom because that's what Chadley does.
But this was a skinny, white, pasty boy.
He was just run of the mill, I guess.
Skater boy. Yeah.
And she was super devastated by this, and again, it's like I never had a thing.
You didn't tell them.
I never.
She asked him out, and she just asked him to prom, and he rejected her.
Right, which she started crying about it. And again, what shocked me was, again, I never had feelings for redhead Sarah, but she was above average.
Mm-hmm.
She was above average, so I myself was shocked. Like, I had never seen a girl get rejected before in my life.
I've been rejected before.
Yeah, but in that moment, right? Okay, I saw a hit and run. Okay, I saw.
Dang. Wait. Question. So, did she come to class crying about it, or did it happen?
It happened.
All happen.
No. Okay, wait. So let me go back.
So she asked him during class, and he rejected her during class, and everyone saw it.
Well, again, what happened was she approached it in a very anime style. She wrote it in a note. And she passed it down to
I
her
remember
friend,
now.
and her
You
friend
told me that
passed
before.
it down to him. And I guess
he circled no or whatever.
He's either circled no or he signaled no or whatever.
Oh,
and she
what
was really
what a d-bag.
And she was really devastated by it. I know, right? It's like, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he had a partner or anything. I think the only logical thing. So
he probably ended up going to the prom alone.
Yes. My guess.
Dude.
Again, I don't understand Caucasian American culture, but my guess
weird
is
ego pride thing.
Maybe he was a bit unnerved because of how young she was, because she was
10th grade.
10th grade, and if he got held back like I was at least 1 year, then that would put us a good age range.
taking an underage person to prom.
Kind of thing.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe that was the way that he was looking.
If it was that, he should have explained it to her. But
it's high school.
It's high school.
Don't expect too much.
Well, excuse my language, but high schoolers were assholes. They were complete assholes.
But anyways, so
he got to swing in and save the day.
But before that, they need to understand, the viewers need, the listeners need to understand that before that, the previous year when I had taken a girl to, it wasn't prom, it was the weird football thing. Homecoming. It went horrible, okay? I ended up taking this person that I know who it is.
That I
physically
She was in our friend group. She was a friend of your sister's, and she is super. And
I'm gonna have to censor that. Okay, don't.
I'm sorry.
Don't shoot. I'm gonna have to censor that. The point is, though, she was somebody that I physically did not like, and emotionally and mentally really did not like. There was no
I'll
chemistry.
just say she's not the best looking individual.
She was as bitter on the inside as she was on the outside.
And she's a little crazy in her beliefs too, I will say.
So it went horrible.
She's a little out there.
I hadn't really gotten any luck with the ladies during high school. So I was really bummed out that, that at this point it was going to be my final chance to take a pretty girl to like the prom or something like that.
Fun fact. So I think it was that night that you took her, I know which girl you're talking about.
What, the
to
goblin?
The homecoming. The Agoda to homecoming.
Yeah, we'll just call it the goblin.
Yeah. I think it was that night that you took her to homecoming that I was over at your house. Your sister was having a party, and I asked your mom. I was like, "Hey, where is he?" Because I was going to like ask you to.
I thought that was during
junior prom.
Year.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, I thought that was for the senior prom.
I just remember I went to a party your sister was having, and I finally had worked up the confidence to, because I had a crush on you for like a little while, and I finally worked up the confidence to ask you to, I don't know if it was homecoming or your prom or whatever, but I was going to ask you. Yeah, I think it was one of the proms. I was going to ask you to prom. But it would have been my junior prom, but you were a senior or whatever. And I went, and so I came over to y'all's house, and you weren't there. And, I was there for your sister's party. And I went up to your mom and I was like, "Oh, where is he?" And she was like, "Oh, he went to a dance." And I forget if it was homecoming or prom, but she was like, "Oh, he went to a dance. Oh, and he went with so and so." And I was like, "Oh," and she was like, "Yeah, he has a date." Like she was all excited about it, and I was like, "Oh." And I just got kind of like sullen because I thought that like y'all were like a thing or were gonna become a thing after going to prom. I think it was prom or something. Yeah, because
a lot of people take prom way too seriously when it comes to like.
Well, because see, that's the thing. It's because it's fed to us through movies, TV shows from an early age that if you take someone to prom, or someone asks you to prom, that means that you like each other, that you're either dating or you're going to date. It's like some weird obligation. I don't know. That's how the media builds it up.
There's also a big hookup culture when it comes to that as well.
Yeah, the whole...
Yeah, let's not go into specifics on
the night of prom, things happen.
Don't bang strangers, kids. Please don't do that. Especially high schoolers.
Well, think about it. It's your body, okay? It's not. It's not like you're giving trading cards to
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's your
anyways,
body.
so
Anyway,
we're-
so it was a weird. So I got kind of, so I was kind of like sullen about that, but then lo and behold, we started dating my senior year, and you got to take me to my senior prom.
But anyways, so back
anyway.
to the thing. So beforehand, though, I hadn't had any luck, and all of a sudden, this girl that I was friends with, which, by the way, historically speaking, I have never really had that many female friends. Only a very small handful of them, which was a bonus for you when you started dating me.
Yeah, because I mean, we weren't like friends. Like, we knew each other through your sister, but like.
But anyways, so there's this girl crying her eyes out because she's not gonna, because, you know, on one hand it's embarrassing, on the other hand
she's not gonna get to go to the senior prom and be the cool girl,
the cool 10th grader that got to go to the
that was every girl's dream. Was that was every because, like I said, sophomore was the lowest grade at that school because of the weird hazing thing. That was every sophomore girl's dream, was for some cute senior guy to ask her to come to invite her to prom, you know, sweep her off her feet.
But anyways, so there I was, you know, time was moving slowly because I was thinking, you know, should I like embrace my
masculinity? I don't know.
I don't know what to call it. It felt a little wrong. But at the same time, I was like, what would my grandpa do in this situation? Because look,
maybe best not to ask yourself that.
Well, here's the thing. I can't rely on what would my dad do. My dad, look.
Your dad gave your mom mangoes and that won her over.
Yeah. That was the only advice that my father
my dad
gave
wasn't
me.
Good at advice either.
But anyway. Let me keep going. But
yeah.
My dad was not good at giving me any advice with girls. So he's just told me that he used to give mangoes to my mom, and that's how he raised her up. But anyways,
my dad told me to date around and play the field, and I looked at him and I was like, bro, I can't even get one date and you're telling me to like play the field like you were such a freaking Casanova back in the day. Anyway, he
so I was thinking, what would my grandpa
Boomers
do?
give bad advice.
Well, again, my grandpa is not necessarily a saint. He's not somebody that I should be maybe
but he did have his
looking
way
up
with
to.
the ladies.
But he had
charisma.
Testosterone. He had
charisma.
He was a man's man. He didn't have toxic masculinity. He was the toxic Mr. Toxic Masculinity. So I was thinking, well, what would my grandpa recommend in this situation? And I could already see him like speaking to me like a Star Wars Force ghost, telling me, "Do it."
He definitely speaks to you that way now. I mean, he's passed away, but
so I went for it. I was like, this is my chance to gain some street cred.
There you go.
Serious
street cred. Man, save the lady. Save the princess or whatever. Sarah does mean princess, by the way. So I'm your little princess.
So I tried to like bring out my cool dude persona that doesn't care about anything, because you can't approach it by being too simpy wimpy. Like, I learned that quickly, that you have to act like it's not a big deal, whatever, man. And I started trying to, you know, motivate her, because before that same day, I was not successful at landing a date to the prom either. So we both had our L's that day, but I didn't talk about that with her. I simply said, well, actually, I did mention, it's like I wasn't able to go with the person that I was planning to. How about we both go together, and that way we don't have to go alone, or at least I don't have to go alone, and you get to...
Wait, who did you ask before that?
I don't remember, or maybe I don't want to remember. But the point, but every year there were a few times where I would maybe ask a girl, and I would get rejected. I got rejected a lot more than I got dates. That's something that every guy has to go through. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's like you just have to keep moving on, keep going. A lot of guys can't handle that, and hey, at least I didn't go through what some of the guys went through, which is the whole you get rejected. They say yes, and then they ghost you at the last minute. That's awful.
Being stood up, basically.
Yeah, that's awful. That's an awful thing to do.
Well, the thing is, like, could you imagine, like, getting all dressed up for prom, like, having the fancy outfit and everything, spending money and time picking it out, and your parents are there ready to, like, take your picture with your date and all excited for you, and then you would just end up waiting hours and hours and they never come?
Yeah,
like,
no, it's awful.
That would be awful.
But anyways, so I passed.
I have been stood up before.
I did a critical 20, a critical
wasn't exactly
success.
A date, but
she immediately got super happy about it.
Because she just wanted to go to the senior prom.
Yeah.
She just wanted someone to invite her.
Yeah,
and you were like, you swooped in and saved the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We both get something out of this.
You get to save the day and be the hero, and she gets to go to senior prom.
Yeah. And so we go, and her mom was super happy. See, it's weird. I had no idea how many people knew me at school. See, at school, in high school, for the most part, I was a loner. Okay?
You had a reputation for being a goody two-shoes like I was.
I was a loner, but apparently word gets around.
Well, no, you and I both were known as the goody two-shoes because we stayed out of trouble because we were quiet wallflowers, basically.
But her mom was really happy that she was going with me because she knew that, you know, there wasn't going to be any funny business with that. It was pretty funny, though. She asked me to distract her for a few minutes while she went through her purse to make sure...
For any contraband.
Any contraband of any kind.
We'll just leave it at that. We won't say anything else. Just contraband.
I'm scared as to what she considered contraband.
There's a list going in my head of what it could have been. But we'll just say, for these purposes, contraband.
But anyways, that was more like my awakening to be a better dude, and it was more of just like a prideful success. There weren't any like I said, there wasn't any like lovey-dovey emotion there with that, but it was very prophetic. Is that the right word? Prophetic or pathetic?
Prophetic.
Because on top of the fact that her name was Sarah, she was also very obsessed with mermaids.
Just like me.
So, very mysterious. Very mysterious.
You have a thing, you just had a thing for
maybe there's
me.
Maybe there's just a lot
and there's only one of me. I'm unique.
I think there's
special.
Just a lot of girls named Sarah that just really like mermaids.
No. See, let me tell you what it is. I am so special and unique that I send my Sarah vibes out there, and they just kind of rub off on the other Sarahs because I'm trying to build an army. So I send my little whale sonar out there, my message to the other Sarahs of join my army, and they start to kind of turn into me a little bit.
So,
yes.
Anyways, so
believe it. It's true.
Everybody goes their separate ways. I stumble upon a few other Sarahs throughout college, and weirdly enough, I ended up stumbling with prom Sarah again during a college party. She was not going to the same college as I was. It's just that at the party, she was there with her, I think it was her fiance. I think it was more than just boyfriend and girlfriend, because the guy was about to go and deploy somewhere in the army. Ooh. And you know, they were like really lovey-dovey with one another, so I think it was a fiance thing. I don't remember the actual conversation, but at the moment I didn't recognize her. It wasn't until like, the party was almost over and we had already been talking for a while, and that's when I realized it was her. And it's like, holy crap, why didn't you tell me it was you? Because she painted. She really likes The Little Mermaid, so she painted her at the time at the prom. Her hair wasn't red. She later painted her hair red and made it big and poofy like in The Little Mermaid. So that's why I didn't recognize her at first. So very strange character. I hope it worked out with the military guy. She was definitely a little crazy. So
I wanna. Part of me wonders if I knew her.
Maybe, but
I gotta do some like stalking on the internet, see if I can find out who this chick was, because I feel like I might have known her.
But anyways,
back in high school.
So then, eventually, after, like I said, dating was awful throughout college.
It was no picnic for me in college either.
Dating was awful.
I could barely get any dates, and the ones that I did get were just
awful. It's like
awful. Yeah, they were
people...
losers, or they were too oblivious to the fact that, hey, we're on a date. I like you. I asked you out to spend time one-on-one. We're literally going to dinner together. I like you. Hello. Do you not get the message? Or they were losers.
But anyways,
or just really dumb.
So
they were either really dumb. They were either really dumb losers or only after one thing, and I don't even know what to say at this point. It was awful.
One of my there was only one good there was only one good situation that I had back in college, and I did tell you this the story before. I think her name was Sarah as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this was during a time when I was really struggling with classes, and I just really didn't know what I was gonna do with my life, and I was completely lost.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I could think about was Markiplier. And
I felt the same way.
And
no wonder God put us together. He should have put us together sooner.
I was so embarrassed because this girl was way out of my league, trying to have like a conversation with me. She came to me and sat in the lunch table and talked to me. Like, I knew she was interested. But the thing is, I was like, there's no point. There's no point in me trying, because I already know how this is gonna end, and it's gonna end badly for me, because I have nothing to offer to this individual at that moment in time. I had nothing. I was at like the lowest of my low in my life, spiritually and mentally, and all I could think of was Markiplier.
That's how I was my very first year. Actually, my first couple years at the college, I was like, that's how I felt. I was like, and the thing is, I actually would try to like, talk to guys about it, because I was like, they're guys, they're going to like gaming, especially YouTube gaming. Who doesn't like And Markiplier wasn't as well known back then, but I met a few people that liked him. So I was like. And I also was dressing like a nerd, wearing the little graphic tees and skinny jeans and Converse. And I was, no, yes and no. Okay? So that's what I was wearing. I was talking about Doctor Who nonstop because I was obsessed with that. And I thought that I could really get a geeky gamer guy, which I did. I ended up with you. But during college, I couldn't. For whatever reason, it just scared them all away. Like I was some kind of weirdo. Like I was some kind of freak.
Well, it's something that I've tried to explain.
And that's when I changed. That's when I started dressing like the other girls. I started styling my hair like the other girls, doing makeup, dressing up, buying fancier clothes. And all in all, like, I am a very feminine, a very girly girl, so I do enjoy wearing dresses every now and then.
Yeah.
But there are some days where I miss, like, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just pull out my old graphic tee from Hot Topic and my skinny jeans and my high top Converse and just go my full geek punk look again.
Yes. Also, I'd like to state though, I do not consider myself a nerd. I am a mad scientist.
Well, I think both you and I are geeks. We're not nerds.
Yeah. No, because I actually lift weights, people. I try to get buff.
I don't see, I feel like there's a big distinction between geeks and nerds, and I feel like we're more geeks than we are nerds.
Probably. But anyways, so I actually realized that
geeks.
I technically got ahead of myself with the college. The first year of college, that's when I got to start dating Sarah Prime, who we're speaking to right now.
I was a senior in high school.
My mom told me that she had a thing for me because she heard it from her mom. So
wait. Your mom was playing devil's advocate because she told you that, but your mom sent me an email.
Right.
Sent my mom and me an email saying, hey, I think my son likes your daughter. He would like to, would they like to go to would she like to go to church with us and then he can take her to lunch after or whatever. And she made it very much sound like it was your idea and that you were the one who clearly liked me and had a crush on me. I mean, I had a crush on you too, but then your mom comes to you and tells you like, hey, Sarah has a thing for you or something.
I'm going to be honest with you. At the time, I didn't really have a crush. It's just like, it was more of, this is a female that's interested in me and I need to get closer to females just because, like I said, I was like a robot. I was like, I need to learn how to talk to girls. I need to, see where this goes, basically. Yeah. Because that's how I've always been.
And I had just come out of an extremely toxic relationship, and I was like, I need someone who's going to be it. And it was like, and I didn't like jump right into it. It was like maybe 6+ months had passed or something. And I always, even way before I dated that guy, liked you. And it was like, okay, well, I really like him, and your mom led on that you had a crush on me and all that, and that you wanted to...
Yeah, no, I never really had a crush on anybody.
I know, but what I'm saying is your mom knows how to play devil's advocate.
I was genuinely worried about my psyche, but again, it's like, okay.
But the thing was, your mom sent my mom an email, or maybe it was through Facebook. They were chit-chatting about, oh, my son really likes Sarah. Would she and was wondering if she'd like to come to church with us and then out to eat or whatever. Yeah. And like I said, I had liked you for the longest time. And coming out of a toxic relationship, I was like, well, like I was kind of scared to like, I was kind of scared coming out of a toxic relationship, like right out of it. I was super scared to like really even associate with any other guys, thinking they were all like that. But then when my mom mentioned that she got like a message from your mom about that, I was like, oh, well, he actually seems really nice, not a D-bag. He's really quiet and shy. Anytime I talk to him, he's always really nice and like respectful.
Yeah,
so I was like,
really had weird things to say.
And I did like you, so I was like, okay, yes, this individual seems safe. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, no, but like I said, I never like officially had a crush on anybody. I had goals, I had missions, but I never had like the butterflies in my stomach. But I did have the one thing that I did have is I did have the manly urge to answer the call to action. Okay, if there is a girl in need that needs my help, I answer the call. That was my code of ethics, I guess you could say.
I will say this. With you, it wasn't so much that I had the butterflies. It was more that I felt very, just kind of safe and warm with you.
Most people did.
But it wasn't that I had butterflies. It was more that I was just kind of nervous of losing you, because you just were like super nice and super respectful, which is hard to find.
Anyways.
And I was super nervous asking you to be my boyfriend this time around. Super nervous.
So the first time,
but anyway,
we went on a few dates, maybe one or two, and I think we became official boyfriend and girlfriend.
On date number 3, I want to say. Or 4.
This was during your high school time when you were a
senior. You asked
me
to be your girlfriend.
Yeah, it was like
officially.
It felt very business-like. We were at a Mexican restaurant.
No, it didn't feel that way to me. It felt very sweet and romantic, because like you asked me and you were so sweet and sincere about it, and then you kissed me.
Oh my!
You did.
But anyways, so it didn't work out.
No.
We dated for a year.
We dated for a year. You took me to my senior prom.
That was fun, though. That was really
a
fun.
lot of fun. Yes. That was a good night.
Yeah, that was really fun.
I just felt bad because, like, all our friends, everyone, I don't know who picked the most expensive restaurant in town, but I felt bad because you had to pay for me and you, and it was super expensive.
It was like $70.
It was. It was this French restaurant.
And that was back in 2012 or 11? No, it was 2011.
It was, well...
No, 2013.
It was this really fancy French restaurant it's still around. Yeah. And it wasn't bad, but it was like...
It was not worth $70.
It was not... Because we got 2 salads as an appetizer. You know, I got a salad, you got a salad. And then the meal, I remember, because it was a French restaurant, we got these crepes. Mine was like, it was like blue cheese and steak crepe. It was really good. And yours was the crepes. And it was really good, but that was it. Like, we didn't get dessert. We didn't get any, like, fancy appetizers or soup. Or I don't even think we got, like, free bread or anything. Yeah. Like, that was basically it. And it wasn't the most filling either. Or tasty. And we were a large group, and they still, like, we were a large group. There had to be at least 12 of us, and they still were, like, basically demanding a tip on top of that. Yeah. A large tip on top of that.
I don't think I tipped.
You didn't?
I don't think
I think it was optional, but it said it on the receipt.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It said something about, like, how much you needed to tip on, like, a bill with this many people or something like that. And I remember you rolling your eyes and being like, I'm not leaving them a tip. Like, this is ridiculous. Because the waiter, they didn't even come to, like, refill our drinks or anything either. So they really didn't deserve a tip.
Yeah, no.
But it was a lot of fun. But then like, we had to go away to college.
Yeah,
and
we went to separate colleges, and we were
far
really
away at the time.
So,
because I think you were gonna go to.
Don't say. I gotta censor that.
I'm not. I didn't say it. I mouthed it.
All we had to tell them is we went to separate colleges, and then for a little, I'll omit that.
You were gonna go to a faraway college, but you decided not to. But at the time, you were.
I still ended up going to a different college. If we had gotten back any point during college,
it wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah, no, it was absolute chaos.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
College was chaos itself.
It wasn't until 8 years later, after I finally graduated from college, and I finally was building up, more street cred with the filthy boomers to build up my career, where I was finally in the okay, so I have my education is done. Mm-hmm. I have plenty of money in the bank. It is time to lift a hell lot of weights, to lose as much weight as possible, to become Mr. Sexy Man of the Year, and find myself a wife. Because I wanted to move out of my bloody house and never look back.
And me, and me as well. Like, I also had like just graduated because it took us, because we kept changing majors and stuff in the colleges, so it took us forever.
Which, by the way, don't do it. Just bite the bullet and keep powering through it.
Just because you get a degree in one thing doesn't mean you're stuck with it forever. The degree that I have was not what I ended up doing, and what I'm doing now I love. And my job just basically, they don't even care what it was in. They just are glad that I have a college degree. Yeah, anyway. So anyways, I was the same way. But the thing is, like, I had graduated. I was in the middle of a really, really tough job in a really dangerous area, and I was just trying to get by. And my sister was in college at the time, the same college I had attended and you had attended, like, for 1 year. And she had invited me to the college to, like, stay the night, sleep over, to try to get my mind off, have a fun girls' weekend, to try to, like, drink and forget about my shitty life, basically. Because it was a shitty job in a shitty part of town that was super dangerous, where people were getting shot every day, and it was a really toxic place. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to go into too much detail. But, and also, so one night they opened, like, this new restaurant next to the college, and it has a bar. And the college that we went to, they had really weird rules. They were like a dry campus, even if you were of legal age. So we decided to walk to the restaurant and sit at the bar and have some drinks and talk about our woes, basically. But we were going to go back to because we were staying at the dorm. I mean, I had already graduated, but my sister was still living in the dorm, and her roommate was usually gone on the weekends, because because like their parents didn't live far from, they would go home on the weekends. So anyway, so I was staying in the dorm with my sister, and we decided, we'll walk to the bar at this restaurant and sit there and have some drinks. It's not that far. It was like you could literally walk 5 minutes from the campus and you're there. And then we would just walk right back and try our best to act sober in front of the RAs, the resident ladies.
I feel like you're going into way too much detail about this.
Let me tell my story, okay?
Well, you're getting ahead of yourself, because before that, because I know where you're going. You were at a bar, and that's the part you're going at. But before that bar, we got to talk about Chloe and Sarah.
No, you can say about that.
Continue.
So anyway, we go to the restaurant. We sit at the bar, and we're drinking, and I have to cut my sister off because she drinks too much, and we get to talking about guys because, surprise, surprise, we find out my ex works there at the restaurant. So we start talking about guys, and I just talk about basically, how the last year of college really sucked because all these guys were just buttholes. And that's when the alcohol kicks in, but not in a good way. I'm sad, and I'm all like swearing off men. Because at that point in life, I had gotten beaten down. I was like, I want to say maybe like 25 at the time. And I hadn't had any real luck. I only had really two, if you could even call them successful relationships back in high school. One that lasted for a year and ended with the guy ghosting me, and just being a manipulative butthole. And and the other with you, and it was just more of like a friendship where we just kind of went our separate ways. And so I was really down about it and feeling, I just basically accepted my fate. I was like, because I had already kind of dated, not really dated around, if you could even call them dates, but I just saw what was out there, and it wasn't good. And I was like, I just started accepting the fact that I was probably going to die alone as a crazy dog lady. That I just wasn't having any luck, and I wasn't having any luck saving money to try to move out of my parents' house. I wasn't having any luck, and they were toxic people, and the job I was at was super toxic and dangerous, as I said before. And so things were just really crappy, and that's when all of a sudden my phone dings, and I get a Facebook friend request. And that's where your part of the story comes in. So now you can go. Look, okay, I can't afford to go to a therapist, so this is free therapy for me, okay? And I don't have my own podcast because I don't have time. I got to take care of the baby, okay? I had just told them about how I received that. I just got that ding and got that Facebook friend request. And now you can tell your side of the story.
It was 8 years later after the last time that we had dated, and I was at the movie theaters, and I thought I saw you, and so I decided to re-add you to my Facebook. Just, nothing special. It was just my Johnny Bravo time, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a
spontaneous
thing. Well, no, you reached out to me.
Yeah.
You accepted the friend request, and then you started chatting, sending me messages or whatever. And
so he thinks that he sees me, but I am in the next town over at a restaurant bar drinking late at night.
We just call it Clone Sarah or Spectre Sarah.
Yeah, because apparently she looked just like I did back in high school or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason that first of all, I accepted his friend request because we didn't break up, we didn't end things on bad terms. It was just more like a friendship, and then we went our separate ways, and that was about it. So it was like, we weren't strangers, so I was like, yeah, sure, I'll invite him. Also, I was drunk, and your profile pic, you lost a lot of weight. You were looking like Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome. And I was like, ooh. And I wanted to kind of spy and go through your photos. So I accepted your friend request. And then as I was going through, me and my sister were ogling your photos. I remember I was drunk, but I remember I said to her, I was like, he looks like a tall drink of water and mama wants a taste or something like that. But I just remember my sister was like, you should message him. You should say hi. And I was like, no, I'm too nervous, because I had always been shy, never had confidence. But she was drunk and boisterous and bullied me into at least saying hi. She originally wanted me to say, I don't know, something really perverted and sexual and too out there that probably would have scared you away. I don't remember what it was. I just know it was something that was way too out there. She was drunk, and I was like, so finally she just bullied me into saying hi, and that's what I said, and then it just took off from there, where we were going, where I think I just said, hi, how have you been? I have the screenshots of the messages on my phone. I have to look back through them.
Texting,
but I was just like, it's not texting, it's Facebook Messenger.
It was texting. Whatever.
Texting, basically. But I was just like, hey, how have you been? Long time no see.
At that point, I was already a pro at this, so I knew.
And we started going back and forth.
And I was just like, hey, let's go to a bar. But you weren't used to that because you were. I
wasn't used to the bar scene.
You were still in your training wheels.
Well, I had never been one for the bar scene before.
You wouldn't have liked it.
I wouldn't have, and
it's not good for meeting people, but it is good for taking people.
And the thing is, like, I know I probably am confusing people when I say, like, oh, I was drinking with my sister. We weren't at a bar. We were at literally a restaurant by the college, sitting at, like, the bar area where you order drinks, but it wasn't like a sleazy bar or anything. There weren't even that many people in there because it was a very small restaurant. So it was just me and my sister, maybe like one couple in there ordering food and the wait staff.
So we ended up scheduling the date at this like library cafe place, right? Or, you know, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, that kind of thing. And she shows up, and man, was she not the girl from the vision.
I was not
out of it at the time.
I did, and the reason I looked out of it was because, like I said,
you were under a lot of stress.
I was still living at home with my toxic ass family. I was working in a toxic work environment with toxic people in a toxic area, and in a dangerous area, in a very dangerous part of town. And so college, my family, and the job had basically beaten me down because I didn't look like the girl in the movies in the movie theater that he saw. I didn't even look like me from high school. Yeah. That was actually the least I ever weighed in my life.
You were skin and bones.
Yeah, that was the least. I was at the time. I think I weighed somewhere in the 90s, and I had never weighed that little since like maybe middle school. Like I had always been in the early hundreds. I don't mind talking about my weight. I'm pretty happy with my weight. I'm not a fatty.
I'm gonna have to censor that.
I was just making a joke, but I get it. But anyway, I was very, and even looking back at photos, I was very pale and Lindsay Lohan looking. I was very, or Olsen twins looking. I was very pale. I looked frail. Which, by the way, very scrawny.
Fitting for our character in question.
And but I don't know what came over me, but all of a sudden I got all this confidence, and I was like, you know what? It's been a while. He's looking hecka handsome. I'm about to go in for the hug. So when we met up, I was like, hey, it's been a long time. And I literally went in for the hug. And you smelled so good, that cologne that you were wearing.
You should have gotten me some for Christmas.
I should have, but you already told me what you wanted for Christmas.
Well, if there's any leftover money, I'll buy a cologne or something.
Okay.
But no, see, your looks weren't really like a deal breaker for me because at the time I was going to the gym every day. So it's like, yeah, I'll just take her to the gym with me and make her hot. And that's what I did.
And he's not being mean there, like saying, oh, make her hot. He already saw me hot back in high school.
No.
I had gotten worse during college.
You're a lot prettier now than you've ever been.
Well, what I'm saying to them is, it's not like I was always a grotesque looking person. I just got grotesque.
Well, you weren't good. No,
in that 1 year after college, because of all the stress.
You weren't grotesque. You were never ugly. The problem is you look sickly, like a.
I did.
Like an angry chihuahua.
I did. He's not being mean at all. By the way, I know everyone's in the comments is probably going to be like, dude, like stop hating on your wife, whatever. Guys, if you saw the photos, you would agree that I looked like a cancer patient. Like I did not look good. In that 1 year after college, life had beaten me down. And actually, it wasn't even life. It was all the freaking people in life had beaten me down, and were constantly beating me down every day. Which
made my job a whole lot easier.
So in a way, he got to be Mr. Knight in Shining Armor again.
Once again,
because we started hanging out. Funnily enough, I knew it was going to work out after that first date.
We went on what, like 4 or 5 dates?
Something like that. After that first meeting at the little library cafe place, getting coffee or whatever, we talked forever, and we never ran out of like stuff to talk about. Like, we were just nerding out with each other, and catching up on life and stuff. And after that first meeting, like, as I go to hug him goodbye, he's like, so what do you want to do next weekend? And I was like, bam, I got him. Hook, line, and sinker, I got him. Because I had never met someone so enthusiastic. I had never met a guy so enthusiastic to spend time with me. Usually to get a guy to spend time with me or talk to me or acknowledge me was like pulling teeth. So when you said that, I was like, bam, this is going to work. And we hung out a few other times after that.
Then Valentine's Day came in. And
yeah.
Originally
we were going to do a date the day after Valentine's Day.
Because originally I thought that going on a date during Valentine's would be coming off too strong. But then Mom was like, stop being a wimp. Take her to Valentine's. And I'm like, fine, whatever, Mom.
And that's when we became boyfriend and girlfriend. Because here's the thing. I was actually really like upset. Look, I was actually really heartbroken that we weren't going to spend actual Valentine's together originally. That it was going to be the day after. I was like, oh, he doesn't like me. He doesn't like me as much.
Here's the thing, though. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If you had been any other girl, if you had been like 80% of girls out in the dating market today, that would have been a death sentence for me. They would have immediately ghosted me. So it only worked specifically because it was you. And then what you did next, it only worked specifically because you.
Well, let me tell them. So I'm getting hot now. I'm gonna have to like take the blankets off here. So, like he said, originally it was going to be the day after Valentine's, and my heart was kind of crushed by that, meanie. But I understand your reasoning now that you explained it.
Yeah.
But still, my heart was crushed at the time.
Yeah, no, I was trying to save both of us.
Well, anyway, because we had already gone on like you said, like 4 or 5 dates at this point.
And by the way, I want to remind our viewers, when we're talking about again this story of how we started dating again, we were already full-grown adults at this point. We were already in our late
20s. Yeah.
Yes, so we were grown but adults.
Because I think I was maybe like 25 and had my 26th birthday with you or whatever.
We weren't rookies. Like
he's a year and a half older than me.
4 or 5, 5th date. That's pretty serious at that age.
Yeah. So anyway, so we originally were going to have the date the day after Valentine's, which would have been like a Saturday, I believe, or a Sunday, and. No, it would have been a Saturday, and I was a little heartbroken, but I was like, okay, well, it's the day after Valentine's. Maybe he's busy with, like, work or something on actual Valentine's. Like, I was trying to console myself a little, but then, that maybe, like, I want to say it was, like, maybe, like, Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, it was very last minute.
You were just like, oh, hey, do you want to move... Do you want to move the date to Friday since it's like Valentine's Day?
What was it, Hansel and
Gretel? Or something?
The retold remake?
So we were going to go to the movies. And so because he moved it last minute and because we had already been on 5 dates and I already felt like things were going really well and I was like, I really like him. I'm really into him. I really have feelings for him. This feels real. I'm never going to get this... I'm never going to find anyone else like him because he checked all the boxes of what I was looking for in a partner. And not only that, like, I really enjoyed being with him, spending time with him, talking to him. and I really felt like this was really going somewhere. And so I'm a very impatient person, and I got to the point where it's like, I need to know. Because we hadn't had that conversation yet of like, where's this going? And it was like, I need to know where this is going. And it's Valentine's Day. This is the perfect time for it. So, and I know myself, I know that deep down I can be a very shy, scared, nervous individual. So I was like, I need to ask him, but I knew that I would chicken out last minute and not, and then I would hate myself for the rest of the night about it. So instead, I went to good old Walmart, and I found and I looked for cards, and there was nothing they don't have any cards about a situationship. You know what I mean? if you can even call it that. All they had were like boyfriend or husband. And I was like, well, husband might be coming on a little too strong. No, I didn't even think that. So I looked at the boyfriend ones, and I found one that I felt like was how I felt about you, and it was all like, and it said, to a wonderful boyfriend on this Valentine's Day, you make me feel like blah, blah, blah. I forget. It was all that bull that those Valentine's cards say. And so I got that, and I put it in a envelope, and then I also got him like a chintzy little, I think it was like an alligator or a dragon stuffed animal that's like holding a little box of chocolates that they have at Walmart or whatever. Because that's what I got you back when we were dating in high school, and I was like, oh, look, and I thought I could be like, oh, look, it's just like the one I got you way back when, remember? Nostalgia. So we get to the movie theater, and I'm all, well, I can't say the word, the exact word, but I'm all dolled up, let's say. Can't say the other word, because children's might be listening. But I'm all dolled up. Got my hair all poofed out. And that was another thing. I surprised him by getting the same haircut that I had back in high school that he was obsessed with back when I was in high school, my little short haircut. So I had my hair cut. It was all poofed out. I had a real pretty sweater on, and I had all this makeup that my mom and my sister put on me, and like a whole freaking bottle of the most expensive perfume that I owned. I looked good, and I smelled good, and I was confident. And I gave you your gift right before we went into the movie theater. And, well, no, I gave it to you when I got in the car because I had it with me, and where else am I going to put it? And we got to the movie theater, and you were like, should I open this now? Because I really thought you were going to open it after the movie. And I was like, sure, I guess. And I was super nervous. And I remember I had a winter coat on because it was freezing.
It was freezing cold.
And I remember when you were like, oh, gotta read the card first. And when you like went to open it, and pulled it out,
like, turned into
I
a turtle.
sunk into my seat, and I pulled my jacket up like over my head a little bit, like you know how people do when they're really embarrassed. And I remember you read the whole card before you finally noticed. Like, you read the whole card, and then you flipped it back, and then you were like, wait a minute, boyfriend, is that what we are? Is what you said. And I was like, and I just remember I like turned and looked at you, and I was all blushed, and I was like, I mean, if you want to be. And then you like looked at me dead serious, and you looked super serious. You looked like one of those, like, you know when the boss is about to like fire the guy, the CEO when a movie is about to fire the guy. You looked at me dead serious, and you were like, can I just ask you something? And I'm just like, because the way you said it made me think you were either going to yell at me or reject me. and then you just like smiled and were like, can I have a kiss? And I was like, yeah.
And then I French kiss her.
Yep. Big ol' smooch. And he told me I was a terrible kisser.
She was a terrible kisser. She's better now, though.
Well, it had been 8 years, okay?
Yeah, I know.
And you were the last the last guy I ever had French kissed, so if I was bad at French kissing, it's because you never taught me anything. And then we went and we saw a really weird movie.
It's okay. I've only ever kissed you, so it's fine. Because, like I said, I took different girls out, but I never held hands or kissed anybody. That's why I was so excited. Because
I know.
Finally, human interaction after 8 years.
Yeah, because I remember like the kiss. Not to go into too many details, but I just remember like you grabbed my shoulder to like pull me in, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice. This is so passionate."
Oh my.
And but I felt the same way too, because it had been 8 years, and it's like, because who else are you gonna do that with? We both lived at home with our parents, and at that age, parents don't even hug you. They don't even give you a pat on the shoulder anymore. It's
at some point, I gave her the ultimatum that we were only going to date for a year, and at the end of it, we were either going to get married or break up. And I stood to that promise.
And look, I wasn't scared about it because I felt like it was fair.
We were hanging out a lot.
We were. Like, when I say that, like, I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, just a year. But the thing was, we lived in the same town. We didn't live that far from each other. And we got to spend not only pretty much every weekend together, but every day after work, we would go to the gym together.
Well, not just that. I was.
And we would text a lot and.
Yeah, but not just that. Like, I was already wise at that point. I knew what I was looking for in a partner. I knew what I needed to survive outside. I knew what to look out for.
And we both wanted the same things. We wanted marriage. We wanted family. We wanted to move out of our parents' house. And he checked all the boxes for me,
We respected each other.
Yeah. And so when he told me about that, I wasn't really nervous. I was more kind of excited because to me it was like, this is someone who's actually, because to me it wasn't scary like, oh, if things don't work out in a year, we're going to break up. It was, no, this is actually one of the few people who still wants to get married, who's still serious about marriage and family, who's so serious about it, they're going to stand firm on that concept that they're going to die on that hill, basically. And I'm like, that's who I need. Because I was ready to die on that hill. It's like, I'm not going to be with someone who doesn't want marriage and doesn't want kids. So because those are two things that I not only want, but I need to have in life.
Well, and my mentality was that I wasn't gonna wait 1,000 years for everybody to turn 40 and then settle down. It's like, no, I want to settle down now.
Well, I feel like for both of us, we had already been through the ringer when it came to dating, and we had enough. And it was like,
yeah, it's like,
and then all of a sudden we get thrown together, and we're basically perfect for each other. We're happy, and we're like, well, and we just both figured it's like, well, at this point, after everything we've been through, we're with each other and we're good for each other. If this doesn't work out, then there's no one, there's not really anyone else that's going to work with.
Yeah, all the weirdos that we came across, they're not going to get better with age.
No. The ones that we came across, everyone else. It was just
some people do get better with age.
Some people mature more, but most people don't. Yeah.
Most people don't change. They double down, and they get worse as a person.
And so I felt like it was fair because I kind of felt the same way. Not so much like, oh, let's date, and after a year, see where the relationship is. It wasn't so much that from his perspective,
I
he
had
was
a
setting
schedule.
that. But for me, it was more like, if this doesn't work out, then that's it. I'm going to be the crazy dog lady. You know what I mean? Because this is the best. Because this is the best relationship I've ever been in. This is the best. This person I believe is my soulmate. This is the best I'll ever get in my life. If this doesn't work out, I've already been through way too much poop. So I'm trying to be clean for the children's, okay? So, so when he said that, I was like, okay. And I took it as a challenge. No.
And then it's
we just enjoyed ourselves.
7 months in, and around 7 months in, 6 or 7 months, I decided that I will get married to this person, but I won't propose until the end of the year. But the big hint was a gaming computer that I bought her.
That was a huge gift. I will say though, you kept dropping like hints about it, and I kept thinking that it was going to be a ring. And I will say, when you got me the gaming computer, yes, it's something that I always wanted, and I was like completely surprised and blown away because it is something that was on my bucket list. Like, I was super happy, but at the same time there was a little part of me that died inside because I was like, oh, I thought it was the ring. but then 2 months later, in February, on close to the anniversary of our becoming boyfriend and girlfriend, that's when he proposed.
Yeah, but then it took like a year to get the wedding up and running.
Well, whenever like the family sat down and everyone was like asking about it, I was like, that's what I wanted to do, because I knew it would take at least a year to plan a proper wedding,
So for 2 years.
Because I remember I said I wanted it in like May.
Yeah.
And I remember your mom was just like, oh, then we don't have time. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, well, May's only in a few months. And I was like, no, not this year, next year. Oh, okay, good, we have time. And I was like, because I didn't even know what all went into planning a wedding. And to be honest, like, growing up as a kid, I thought that all I ever wanted to do was plan my own wedding. But now I'm so glad that I had someone else plan my wedding, because, like, people were asking me questions left and right, and I was like, I don't know. I like they were asking me really specific things that I didn't know, and I was like, look, I picked the dress, I like the color pink, you guys know me, you know what I like, just throw a wedding you'll think I like. And it worked out. I had complete trust in those individuals that got the wedding together, and they knew what I liked, and the wedding went off without a hitch. Once they started planning it, but before that it was kind of a headache. But
then we finally started living together, and that was the turning point for me. Life got way more comfortable for me, and I feel like that's when I finally started having more emotions towards you, I guess, because I no longer had the other stress bugging me down. That, and
I mean, I feel like you already had emotions towards me.
It got better,
but they got stronger after.
Yeah.
Well, after we started living together.
Because beforehand, you and I still weren't accustomed to that fact of like being next to each other like 24/7.
I mean, we were together a lot, but we weren't.
It wasn't like.
And the thing is, I did have like a little bit of. It wasn't a lot. I was more excited than anything, but I feel like everyone always has that fear in the back of their mind. And the thing is, like, when it came time for the wedding, I had no fear at all. I was 100% I do. But living together, it was. I had that fear in the back of my brain that I was like, are we going to fight all the time? Are we going to
get exhausted from being near each other all the time?
Well, the thing is, like...
But no.
I knew...
becomes a normal part of your everyday?
Well, the thing is, I guess my biggest fear was that they say that there's like an adjustment the first couple months because you're not used to living together, and my biggest fear was like that was going to break us, because I know you were used to like having your me time, your isolation, where you would like work in your lab and do your molds and stuff like that, and I know, like, you know, I wasn't used to like a
quiet household.
I was not used to a quiet household. I was used to people. I was used to constantly walking on eggshells, people yelling at me and yelling at each other over the dumbest poop. Again, trying to be clean. So I didn't know how it was going to go. Like, part of me was like, okay, is he going to get annoyed having me constantly following him around like a little puppy dog, like, what you doing, you know what I mean? Am I going to get annoyed because he's a man and he's sloppy, you know, like am I going to get mad he leaves his underwear on the floor or something, you know what I mean? Like, because they always say like, oh, men do this, men do that when you move in with them or whatever, like, be ready. But no, like, we actually, when we closed, the day that we closed on the house, we moved in. We moved in that night. We had, like, nothing. We had literally my fridge from my dorm room, my small little mini fridge that we shoved some necessities in, like eggs and milk. We didn't even have a washer or dryer yet. We had to go buy them and wait for them to get delivered from Best Buy. So we literally had just a big bag of clean clothes from our front that we took with us, and then anything else, and then we would just wear everything once and wait for the washer and dryer to come in. But that night that we closed on the house and moved in, we just slept in a sleeping bag on the floor of one of the rooms. And then we got up the next morning and we painted and worked on the house. That's like all we did. But I did get to like cook for you. Like the first night we kind of partied it up because it was our first night in the house. Like I cooked, I think I made a quiche, I remember. A homemade quiche. And I think we got like some alcohol or something, and we partied it up, and we watched. I don't think we even had a TV yet. I think we just watched dumb stuff on our phones. We didn't even have a couch yet or anything to sit on. We just like watched dumb stuff on our phones, got drunk, and then just went to sleep in the sleeping bag in what is now our toddler's room. And it was super nice because we had freedom. And what was funny was one of my coworkers was talking about it the other day, and I was like telling her about that. And she's older, but she was like, she was like, I know everyone makes fun of it because, you know, it's like, oh, you guys didn't have furniture, you didn't have this, you didn't have that. She said, I've been in that spot that you guys were before, and even if you don't have furniture or this or that, nothing can replace that first feeling of freedom, of being free from your parents, of being free to basically live in your own house how you want and do what you want, and not have to like answer to parents or relatives or whatever. Like, you can finally be an adult, you can finally be you. And it was such a great feeling. It felt like such a good natural high adrenaline rush. And I think that's what really kind of helped with us moving in together, was we hadn't lived on our own, completely on our own before. So when we moved in together, instead of having like that stress of like getting in each other's space and on each other's nerves, it was like we were celebrating together, like, oh my god, we finally have our own place, finally. And it was nice because like I cooked for him, and we cooked together, and I do love cooking. Sometimes I don't, because now we have a toddler and work and all that, but I do enjoy cooking whenever I have the time to do it and I'm not being rushed and I have no other things going on. So I enjoyed that, and so I got to cook for you, and then we just kind of worked on the house together, and we basically got to do whatever we want, stay up as late as we want, watch whatever we want, blast music, walk around the house wearing whatever we want, and we just had, I feel like, deeper, well, not deeper, but we had a lot more of deep conversations, because I feel like you don't get to have those as much when you're not living together, because you're with other people and you can't get as deep. You know what I mean?
But
anyway, I'll let you talk now since
No, I'm running out of batteries. It's about to be 1 in the morning.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We've been talking for that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, anyway, I was.
This is just gonna be like a final extra at the end of what I wanted to show them. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just something fun.
But yeah, I guess the moral of the story, to wrap it all up, guys, the moral of the story is...
Go after crazy girls named Sarah that are super scrawny.
Well, I was gonna say, the moral of the story is get your butt out of your parents' house. Trust me. You'll thank us. Especially if you're in your mid to late 20s, do yourself a favor and get your butt out of your parents' house. It's not going to bring you any good.
That can't afford a ton of bone.
That, and if you're struggling with dating, we're sorry. We've been through it. Just keep pushing through. You'll eventually find that person.
Pray to Jesus.
Yeah, pray, work out, eat right, exercise, and don't settle for a goblin.
Well, don't settle for somebody that's gonna have a bad attitude all the time.
Or yeah, and if on the first date, if they don't align with like your goals or your beliefs, if they make fun of you, don't ignore the red flags, basically.
Yeah, and you'll learn them as you go on.
Yeah, because those bees be crazy.
That's it.
Good night.